So if someone rings me up or emails me from America and says, Barbara, my cholesterol levels are 250, the doctor says if I don't go on the cholesterol lowering medication, what's this based on? Fear. I'm going to have a heart attack and die. I said, that's perfectly normal. 265 is perfectly normal. What I saw that morning changed my life forever. My husband is a strong man, the kind who rarely complains, the kind who keeps going no matter how tired he feels. That day, as he sat quietly at the breakfast table, something about him looked different. His face seemed pale, his shoulders a little slumped, and when I asked if he was all right, he gave that same gentle smile he always does and said, just a bit tired, love. But it wasn't the usual kind of tiredness, and something deep inside me, a quiet nudge, an intuition told me to look closer. His breathing was slower than usual, his appetite almost gone. I remember watching the way he rubbed his chest just under the left shoulder, not in pain exactly, but as if something inside was heavy. He didn't want to worry me, of course. He said it was nothing, that he just needed some rest, but I've learned that the body never lies. It whispers before it screams. That morning began a journey that taught me more about the human heart than any textbook ever could. What I discovered were 5 hidden signs, subtle, easy to ignore signals that the heart gives before a major event like a heart attack or stroke. These signs are not the dramatic ones we often see in movies, no clutching the chest or sudden collapse. They're quiet, gentle, almost polite. But if you learn to recognize them, they could truly save a life. So today, I want to share with you what I learned, not as a doctor sitting in a white coat, but as a wife who almost lost her husband, and as a teacher who believes knowledge should empower, not frighten. Let's talk about the 5 hidden signs that saved my husband from a heart attack, and how you can become more aware of them in your own life or in the life of someone you love. Before we start, drop in the comments from where you are watching this video and what health topic you'd like to see in the next video. As a special thank you for joining us today, we're giving away 100 free copies of my best-selling book to subscribers. So, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment about why you want to win my best-selling book. Your mother's 23 years older than you, and her blood is looking very nice. And by the way, when this mother's blood goes through the lungs, how much oxygen is it picking up? And how much oxygen is this girl's blood picking up? Oxygen's the most vital element needed for life. Do you know what that means? Someone with chronic fatigue syndrome may be suffering from dehydration. It's not always that simple, but don't you love it when it is? 1. The unusual fatigue that's not just tiredness. Fatigue is one of the most misunderstood signals the heart sends us. Most people think feeling tired is normal, especially as we age. We tell ourselves it's the weather, the late nights, the grandkids keeping us busy, or maybe just getting older. But there's a kind of tiredness that feels different, deeper, heavier, and persistent. That's the one we must pay attention to. And in my husband's case, it started subtly. He'd come in from a short walk and say, I don't know why, but I feel exhausted today. He wasn't gasping for air and his pulse seemed normal. But that kind of fatigue, the kind that doesn't match the effort, is often one of the earliest signs that the heart muscle isn't getting enough oxygen. Here's what happens inside the body. The heart, our tireless little pump, needs a constant supply of oxygen-rich blood. When the arteries start narrowing, maybe from plaque buildup, inflammation or high cholesterol, the heart must work harder to push blood through. This extra effort can create a quiet sense of exhaustion, even if you haven't done much. It's your heart's way of whispering, I'm struggling a little here.
Many older people overlook this sign. They think, oh, it's just my age, but age doesn't cause this kind of fatigue. Oxygen deprivation does. It's like running a marathon. At rest, the body feels drained because the heart isn't keeping up. I often tell my patients, if your energy drops suddenly and you can't explain why, if walking across the room or climbing a few stairs leaves you unusually weary, please pause and listen. The body speaks gently before it shouts. My husband didn't have chest pain. He didn't even have shortness of breath at first. Just that quiet fatigue that crept into his days like a shadow. And when we finally checked his blood pressure and heart function, we discovered early coronary restriction enough to cause fatigue, but not yet a heart attack. We caught it just in time. So what can you do if you notice this kind of tiredness? First, don't dismiss it. Resting may relieve it temporarily, but true recovery only comes when circulation improves. This means gentle walking, deep breathing, hydration, and foods that support blood flow like leafy greens, beets, and a little bit of sunshine for vitamin D. But more importantly, it means getting checked, because sometimes that unexplained fatigue is the body's cry for oxygen. I know many of you listening today are caregivers, spouses, or parents. You know your loved ones better than anyone. If you ever sense that their tiredness feels different, heavier, or doesn't go away, please don't brush it aside. The smallest awareness can prevent the greatest tragedy. When my husband's doctor told me we'd caught the problem early, I remember feeling an overwhelming mix of gratitude and humility. It reminded me how precious awareness is, because when you learn to notice, you give your loved ones the gift of time. Before we move to the second hidden sign, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced unusual fatigue that didn't make sense? Did it go away, or did you find something deeper behind it? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might help someone else recognize the same sign before it's too late. 2, the subtle breathlessness that comes too soon.
A friend of mine, his name's Dr. David Harris. He's a chiropractor. He's a cyclist. He's 58. He goes overseas twice a year, does 200k rides. He's a vegetarian. His doctor was suspicious of the breathlessness he was getting at times, so he did a test on his heart, 90% occlusion of his arteries. He was rushed in for a bypass. He rang me up and he said, "Barb, it's genetics."
When my husband began feeling tired, I thought maybe he just needed rest. But a few days later, I noticed something else, something so quiet, so ordinary that most people would never think twice about it. He was walking from the kitchen to the garden, just a few steps, when I heard him exhale a little louder than usual. It wasn't gasping or panting, just a deeper breath, as though his body was trying to catch up. When he sat down, he smiled again. Just getting old, love? But I knew better. That breath told a story. Breathlessness, especially when it comes too soon, is one of the heart's most honest signals. You see, the heart and lungs are partners in a beautiful dance. The heart pumps oxygen-rich blood, while the lungs fill it with life. When the heart begins to struggle, the lungs compensate. They start working harder, quietly, to deliver the oxygen the heart can't circulate as efficiently. And it's not the dramatic breathlessness of running up a hill. It's the subtle one, the kind that comes when you're just tying your shoelaces, watering your plants, or talking on the phone while walking across the room. That's the one that often goes unnoticed. Here's what happens. When the heart weakens or the arteries narrow, less blood reaches the lungs. In response, the body increases the breathing rate slightly, trying to make up for that lack of oxygen. Most people interpret this as just being out of shape. But it can actually be a sign that the heart's efficiency is declining. I remember asking my husband to walk a little slower, to pay attention to how his breathing felt. At first, he brushed it off, as many men do, but after a few days, he admitted something felt off. He said, "It's strange. I feel breathless doing things I've done my whole life." That moment, that small admission saved him because we went for a checkup and the doctor found mild fluid retention around the lungs, a common early warning sign of heart strain. With natural support, lifestyle adjustments and gentle medical care, we turn things around. If you or someone you love notices that they're running out of breath faster than before, please don't ignore it. Sit quietly and ask yourself, is this normal for me? Has something changed? Awareness begins with that one question, and if breathlessness comes with mild chest pressure, dizziness or swelling in the ankles, it's especially important to get checked soon. These are not just signs of age, they're signs of circulation imbalance. Now, some of you might wonder, Barbara, can this be improved naturally? The answer is absolutely, but always alongside proper medical guidance. Walking in fresh air, breathing exercises, reducing processed foods, and staying hydrated can all help. But above all, listening to your body, that's the key, because your breath is life itself. And when it changes, it's your body's way of calling you to attention. 3, the mild chest discomfort that comes and goes. One of the most misleading signs of heart distress is mild chest discomfort, not pain, but pressure. That's what makes it so dangerous, because it doesn't shout, it whispers. When we think of a heart attack, we imagine someone clutching their chest in agony. But many heart attacks, especially in older adults and women, don't start that way at all. They begin with something so small that most people dismiss it. I remember one afternoon, my husband was sitting with a book in his hand, rubbing the upper part of his chest. I asked what was wrong, and he said, "It's nothing, just a little tightness here." He thought maybe it was indigestion or that he had eaten too quickly. It wasn't pain. It was more like a heaviness right behind the breastbone, sometimes spreading to his shoulder or jaw and then disappearing as quietly as it came. That on and off pattern is often the body's early alarm bell. The reason it comes and goes is because blood flow to the heart is being temporarily restricted, what doctors call angina. It happens when the coronary arteries can't supply enough blood for a few moments. Then when you rest, the demand drops and the feeling goes away, but that doesn't mean it's gone. It means your heart barely escaped a shortage. Here's the simple science behind it. When cholesterol, inflammation, or calcium begins to narrow the arteries, oxygen flow becomes inconsistent. Just like a garden hose with a kink, water may still come through, but under pressure. The heart feels that lack of flow as a dull, squeezing, or pressing sensation. It's not always painful, but it's always meaningful. If you ever feel a sense of heaviness, fullness, or pressure in your chest, even if it lasts just a minute or two, please don't dismiss it, especially if it happens after mild exertion or emotional stress. It's the heart saying, "I'm working harder than I should be." When we discovered this, in my husband's case, I remember feeling a wave of gratitude that he mentioned it, because so many people don't. They take antacids thinking it's acid reflux. They go to sleep hoping it'll pass, and sometimes it doesn't. Now, there's something else I want you to understand. Nature gives us many ways to support a healthy heart: magnesium for muscle relaxation, potassium for electrical rhythm, omega-3s for flexibility, and foods rich in antioxidants to reduce inflammation. But none of these will help if the warning signs are ignored. You can only strengthen what you first acknowledge. The chest is sacred. It holds your lungs, your heart, your life force. Whenever you feel anything unusual there, it deserves your attention. My husband learned to sit quietly when he felt that sensation, take deep, slow breaths, and observe. That stillness often told us more than any test could. By this point in the story, 3 signs had already appeared: the strange fatigue, the subtle breathlessness, and the quiet chest pressure. Each one was small, almost invisible, but together they were forming a picture, a message from his body asking for help. In our next part, I'll take you through the 4th and 5th hidden signs, the ones most people never connect to the heart at all, yet they're often the final clues before a crisis. We'll also reach the heartfelt conclusion that ties everything together, the simple wisdom that helped me save my husband and could help you protect someone you love. 4, the change in sleep and nighttime restlessness.
In the 10 Commandments, the 4th commandment is a rest commandment. It says, 6 days God made heaven and earth, 7th day he rested. We should do all our work in 6 days and rest the 7th. Another aspect of rest is our nighttime sleep. Before electric lights, people used to go to bed when the sun went down and wake up when the sun got up. But today, because of electricity, many people are awake in the hours when they should be asleep. Between the hours of 9 p.m. and 2 a.m., 4 hormones are released that are responsible for rest and rejuvenation in the body.
The 4th hidden sign came quietly in the middle of the night. I remember waking up and finding my husband sitting on the edge of the bed, his elbows resting on his knees, his head bowed. I asked if he couldn't sleep. He smiled faintly and said, "Just restless tonight?" But what I didn't realize then was that this restlessness had nothing to do with his mind. It was his heart trying to find balance. When the heart struggles to pump efficiently, the body senses it, even in rest. Many people notice that they wake up suddenly in the night, sometimes feeling short of breath, anxious, or with a strange heaviness in the chest. Others find they can't lie flat comfortably. They need to prop themselves up with pillows to breathe easier. These are small clues that circulation isn't as strong as it should be. You see, at night when we lie down, more blood returns to the heart from the lower parts of the body. A healthy heart adjusts easily, but when it's under strain, it may not handle the extra volume well. Fluid can start building around the lungs, causing breathlessness or restlessness that feels like insomnia. The person might toss and turn, unaware that their heart is quietly struggling for equilibrium. For my husband, it wasn't dramatic, just nights of light sleep and early waking, saying he felt tired but wired. When we connected it to his heart condition later, everything made sense. His body had been working overtime even while he slept. If you or someone you love experiences changes in sleep, particularly sudden restlessness, nighttime breathlessness, or frequent waking without reason, it's worth listening to. It may not always be emotional stress or aging. Sometimes it's the heart saying it needs support. Now, this doesn't mean every sleepless night is dangerous. Sometimes it's simply our minds running too fast. But when poor sleep pairs with any of the earlier signs, fatigue, breathlessness, or chest pressure, then it deserves attention. Here's something gentle and natural that can help. Creating a nightly rhythm that supports the heart. A warm foot soak before bed can draw circulation downward and relieve pressure from the upper body. Deep breathing in the dark, slow and steady, helps oxygenate the blood and relax the nervous system. Herbal teas like chamomile or hawthorn can calm both heart and mind, but always remember to consult your doctor if you're on medication, as natural doesn't mean risk-free. The goal isn't just to sleep better, it's to help your body rest deeply, to give your heart the peace it needs to heal. I often say to my older listeners, pay attention to your nights. The body often reveals its truths when the world is quiet. When your heart is calm, your sleep will follow. But when the heart is unsettled, your nights will whisper the warning first. 5, the sudden mood or memory changes no one talks about.
And sperm survives, otherwise none of us would be here. But woman's body has memory, and every time her husband's sperm enters her, her immune system rises and says, "Oh, it's husband, we'll just stand back." And sperm gets through. But can you imagine how damaging it is for a woman if she has multiple partners, and how damaging it can be in the case of homosexuality? What about a pap smear? What is a pap smear? A pap smear is a little scrape or a nick taken out of the cervix to test for abnormal cells. Let's say a woman has a pap smear. That night she is intimate with her husband. Just before she's intimate with her husband, her immune system is busily starting to heal the scrape. In the presence of sperm, what does her immune system have to do? Step back. Now let's say they're intimate just before she falls asleep at night and the sperm stays there. It can't go, the immune system can't go back on the job in the presence of sperm. Not till the morning when gravity causes the sperm to come away.
The fifth sign is one that surprises most people because it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with the heart at all. I began noticing my husband becoming a little more irritable, forgetful and withdrawn. At first I thought he was just stressed or perhaps tired of my constant fussing, but something about his mood felt unfamiliar. He wasn't himself. The sparkle in his eyes seemed dimmer, as though a quiet cloud had settled over him. What we didn't realize then is that mood and memory are deeply connected to heart health. The brain, like every other organ, depends on steady oxygen and nutrient flow. When the heart can't supply that flow properly, the brain feels it first, often through changes in mood, clarity, or even short-term memory. Reduced blood flow can cause mild confusion, fogginess, irritability, or sudden anxiety that has no clear emotional cause. Some people feel down for no reason. Others say they feel not quite themselves. These emotional ripples are often early reflections of what's happening physically inside. It's fascinating and humbling how the body works in harmony. The heart is not just a pump, it's also an emotional organ. Every heartbeat sends electrical signals that communicate with the brain. When the rhythm falters or the flow weakens, the emotional state can shift too. That's why people recovering from heart issues often report emotional ups and downs. The body and mind are trying to find their balance again. For my husband, we discovered that his mood changes were the body's way of saying something isn't flowing as it should. Once we began addressing his heart health, improving circulation, restoring minerals, reducing inflammation, the cloud lifted. His warmth returned, he laughed more, rested better, and became the man I knew again. If you ever notice sudden changes in your emotions, memory, or sense of peace, especially alongside any of the earlier signs, don't ignore them. It might not be just stress or just age. The heart and brain speak to each other more deeply than we realize. Simple practices like staying hydrated, walking in fresh air, listening to calming music, or praying before bed can help align the heart's rhythm with the mind's calm. But above all, awareness and gentle care. That's the medicine we often forget. And when my husband's doctor finally confirmed his recovery, I remember standing outside in the morning sunlight, feeling the soft warmth on my face. I closed my eyes and whispered, "Thank you," not just for his healing, but for the lesson that came with it, that awareness is the greatest healer of all. Health isn't just about avoiding disease. It's about understanding the language of your own body. The heart doesn't fail suddenly. It whispers for months, even years before it breaks. And if you learn to hear those whispers, if you respond with love, rest, nourishment, and balance, your body will always work with you, not against you. So tonight, when you lie down to sleep, place your hand over your heart. Feel its rhythm. That's your body's song, the melody of life itself. Care for it. Listen to it. Be grateful for it, because every heartbeat is a reminder you're still here, you're still alive, and it's never too late to take care of the life that takes care of you. Thank you for being here, and may peace, health, and gratitude fill your heart tonight and always. Remember, healing doesn't begin in the hospital, it begins in awareness. Listen to your body. It's far wiser than we think.
If this video helped you understand how to do that, please give it a thumbs up. It truly helps others find this important information. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay healthy.